Hi, I'm James Bruce, hardware reviews editor for MakeUseOf.com, and I've been a huge VR fan since the earliest days of the Oculus Development Kit 1 Kickstarter back in 2013, and even before then. But I'm here to tell you why you shouldn't buy a VR headset at the moment. So if you've been watching my other VR buying guides, you'll know that for a while now we've had a big range of headsets to suit any kind of budget. Whether you're looking to spend $200 or $2,000, you can buy something that's going to be great for you. However, in the past week or so, we've had some very exciting news that I want to share with you and explain why you shouldn't buy a headset right now. So firstly, Oculus revealed the Rift S, a direct replacement of the current Rift model, with some dramatic changes. Thing is, it's not really an upgrade, it's more of a sideways step. So the biggest change in the Rift S is that they've lost the external tracking cameras, which means no more messing around with USB connections to your computer. Instead, everything will be done via 5 tracking cameras on the headset itself. Now, this is very similar to the current crop of Windows mixed reality headsets, and it suffers from the same blind spot issues. However, instead of just the 2 cameras on the front, it will have 5 cameras, which should make a huge difference. So just like Windows mixed reality tracking, if you put the controller right behind yourself, it'll track for a second or so as it's using the accelerometer data in the controller to sort of guess where you are. But if you hold your hand there for any longer, it'll lose positional tracking and degrade to rotational only. Now, without going too deeply on this, for most people, you're probably not going to care and it won't matter. It's a lot easier to set up. However, it does feel like a bit of a step backwards, or rather sideways in some ways. There are people who would rather have external tracking cameras for perfect tracking at home. Clearly, there's a lot of benefits if you're taking your headset around to be used with your laptop. You don't want to set up tracking cameras. You may not even have that many USB ports. So it's a different system. Whether it's worse or better, or whether it really matters at all, still remains to be seen, which I'm hoping to test more when we actually get our hands on one. Other differences include an LCD display, a single panel, rather than an IPS display for each eye, albeit at a higher resolution. Again, some people think that LCD is a bit of a step back. The blacks, for instance, won't be as black, but there are upsides to LCDs too. However, the most important difference is that there will no longer be a physical IPD adjustment because there aren't 2 separate screens. So IPD means interpupillary distance, or the distance between your eyeballs, basically. And it typically varies by around 20 millimeters. However, due to the lack of physical adjustment on those lenses, the Rift S is only going to cater for, apparently, around 70% of the population. If you're in the 30% that lies at the extremer ends of the IPD scale, then you're out of luck with the Rift S. So Palmer Luckey, the founder and now ex-employee of Oculus, wrote a long blog post all about this, and you should probably go give that a read. Essentially, one of his original goals with the Oculus Rift was that it would be able to cater for everyone, a really accessible device. And in that respect, the Rift S does feel like a bit of a step backwards. They're taking away a very important feature. Of course, for most people, you're never going to care about this. Your IPD is probably entirely within the normal range, as mine is. 64 millimeters is the average. I believe mine is 63. But do spare a thought for those on the extreme end who won't be able to use the headset. It is definitely less accessible than the current Rift model. Now, those aren't the only big changes even. The fundamental design of the headset has changed. Now, instead of a rigid strap that you pull on, you have a headband style design instead. Again, very similar to the current crop of Windows mixed reality headsets. And that's because actually, it's Lenovo who Facebook have partnered with to produce the Rift S rather than producing it in-house. Lenovo, of course, already have a Windows mixed reality headset. So it's more like a rebranding with some additional cameras and put into the Oculus ecosystem. Also gone are the built-in headphones, replaced instead with the same sort of audio tube things that they feature on the Oculus Go, where the sound is delivered directly to your ears, but also people around you can sort of hear it. Now, these are both things which are going to be pretty divisive in the community, I think. Whether they're better or worse is debatable, but it is quite a dramatic change. Moreover, it's been around 2 years since the release of the original consumer Oculus Rift, and for Facebook to come out and say, well, we've changed it entirely, but it's not an upgrade, is a little bit strange at this point. People were definitely hoping for something much better. And this was really my problem with the Oculus platform in the beginning, because it doesn't support any other headsets. Once you've bought into the Oculus platform, you can't play it on anything else. You are locked into Oculus. And now with other headsets that are coming out, it does feel like Oculus is very much falling behind. In fact, they've confirmed as much. They've said that they're going to be focusing on the mobile all-in-one experience for the time being. So if you are looking for high-end PC gaming headset, probably Oculus is not the best choice anymore, at least not for the foreseeable future. For now, I'd advise not pre-ordering a Rift S until more people have had a chance to play with one and we've got some more reviews in. Also, if your IPD lies outside of the typical range, you're definitely going to want to look elsewhere. Which brings us neatly onto the other huge news from Valve. That's right, Valve, who own the Steam platform and whose technology went into the Vive headset, albeit manufactured by HTC. So for a while now, there have been rumors of a Valve branded headset. Some leaks have popped up here and there, some dodgy photos, but suffice to say, nothing has been officially announced until last week. And the name is, drumroll please, the Valve Index. Now, the only official bit of information we have at the moment is the photograph you're seeing now on a Steam store page. The most significant thing about this image, I think, is the angle and the timing of it. So shortly after the official Oculus Rift S announcement, this appears to be a big middle finger up at Oculus. Looking closely, you'll see that the Valve Index has a physical IPD slider, which, as we said, is a feature that the Rift S has controversially dropped. Now, this image itself doesn't give much else away other than the existence of an IPD slider and the headset itself, which is known as the Index, but it does maybe confirm some previous leaks. So we also know from other sources that the field of view of the headset may be as high as 135, though is also rumored to perhaps be 120. Suffice to say, it's not as high as Pimax, but it is higher than the current crop of mainstream headsets, which are around 100, 110. So the Index name is thought to originate from a bit of lens terminology called the Refractive Index, which determines how light bounces around inside a lens. And looking at the logo of a circle and two semicircles seems to indicate that they're using a stacked lens system to achieve that kind of field of view, or at the very least to eliminate some of the problems we currently experience with headsets like the God rays and the mesh-like screen door effect. But I think a wider field of view is certainly feasible and quite likely. It probably has the same resolution as the Vive Pro, currently one of the best on the market. I say probably because there have been some leaks about the chipsets used on the board being capable of more, but again, if you had higher resolution, you would need much higher processing capabilities on your graphics card, and it's likely that Valve is keeping that within reasonable bounds, as well as existing wireless technologies having a limit. So I would say expect the same resolution as the Vive Pro. It'll also come with the new Knuckles controllers, which we have known about for around a year now. Lots of developers have them, and they seem to be nearing a final state of manufacturing. The Knuckles controllers strap completely around your hand, and as well as including capacitive buttons so it can tell when your fingers are touching them, as well as how far away they are, you'll also be able to let go of the controller completely since it'll stay attached to your hand. And this will be great for interactions where you're throwing something. An email to Gabe himself confirmed that there would be different packages of the Vive Index available. So we can surmise that this will probably mean you can maybe buy the headset alone, the headset with some new base stations, the headset with the new controllers or without, that sort of thing. So if you already have a complete Vive setup, then you'll be able to just upgrade the headset should you wish. The headset also features a dual camera system on the front of the device. Now, this is almost certainly going to enable pass-through cameras so you can view your environment in 3D while wearing the headset, but it's also rumored that it might be used for some kind of inside-out tracking system. This seems unlikely given that Valve has spent so much effort developing their, frankly, really good Lighthouse tracking system with external base stations that only require power, not USB. However, it is possible that it's being offered as an optional extra, so for the perfect experience, you can add in some tracking base stations, but for everyone else, for those who want to demo or get things up and running quickly, maybe you don't need them and it can be done all on the headset itself. Again, this is pretty out there, but there is a tweet that sort of confirms this. And if true, it would shave about $120 off of the initial purchase price if you don't need to buy those base stations. Lastly, in terms of hardware, it looks like there's an accessory slot with a USB port on the front of the device. Now, people have been playing around with hand tracking through a Leap Motion for a while now, so it's possible it's being added for that kind of hand tracking functionality. Or it might just be for accessories in general. Perhaps they're designing the Index as overall a more hackable headset to see where it leads. Valve have confirmed that they're working on 3 VR titles, first-party titles from Valve themselves. So this could be Portal themed, Half-Life themed, and something else. And I'd expect those to be launch titles with the headset. Now, the only one we really know something solid about is currently known as Boneworks from the guys over at Node. Check out their full video for an idea of what that's going to involve, but we don't know much more about that game yet. They have said it's a full story-driven game that they're working on, so whether that's actually going to be Portal or even Half-Life themed, we don't know, or it could be something else entirely. But it's almost certain that this is going to be one of the launch titles with the Index headset and Knuckles controllers. So anyway, all those rumors should be taken with a grain of salt, although most of them do have some form of confirmation. The only thing we know for sure at the moment is that there is a Valve headset. It's called the Valve Index, and we'll know more in May. But the point is, don't buy anything at the moment until we know more about that. It could be a real game changer. It could be the best VR headset available. We just don't know yet, which is why you should stay tuned and not buy anything for now. So that's it from me. Please hit like and consider subscribing. We do 2 reviews and hardware giveaways every single week, as well as the occasional technology tips, tricks, and tutorials, and VR buying guides. Hit me up in the comments if you want to talk about your wild predictions for the Valve Index or for the Rift S. And until next time, thanks for watching.